Hi, I'm Gareth Thomas and this is my book Proud, and I'm very proud to call it a definition of who I am. I think, for me, I never dreamt of being a captain because I just loved being part of a team, and I always thought if you were captain it meant you're never really part of the team. You're either a little bit above it or you have to be more towards the coaches and the team. But I think what happened with me was that I stayed who I was. I stayed true to who I was. I stayed true to what I believed in. And I stayed true to my passion for my country or my club. So I think, to me, those were the most important things. And people who become captains sometimes try to change. They try to change who they are. They try to change what they believe in because they try to mix other people's in the team. They try to mix their beliefs with theirs and their understanding. So rather than treating everybody as kind of individuals, they try and make a team environment. But you've got to realise that for me there was 30 people in the changing rooms at one time, and everybody had different thoughts and everybody had different ideas, and it was all about unlocking them individually and using their thoughts and what they had to give to the team as a collective process rather than individually. So for me, I just felt that I would have I lived and breathed for my team, and my whole being and my whole existence at that time was to make a better environment for my team. So everything I did was towards or to make their environment a lot better, and I feel that the players realised that, the players knew that. And I think somebody can try and be a leader, but it's pointless trying to be a leader if nobody will follow you. So first of all, you have to have people who are going to follow you into battle before you can be a leader. And I think that was the process I went through, because I went through a lot of tough times before I was captain, and the people realised when I became captain what I would do for them, and that's what made them follow me. I think it made me understand what a lot of people are going through in lives. Because you got to realise that a rugby match lasts for 80 minutes and a training session lasts for an hour. But when you captain people, you need to realise that these people have lives as well. And you can't sometimes just leave your life at the changing room door or, at the entrance to a match, because lives, you take them on the field with you take them on the training field. So I think what I went through in my life, I kind of realised and I understood that a lot of people have personal issues, and them issues need to be dealt with and need to be confronted. And because I had confronted so many issues in my life, then I felt that I could help people come to terms and understand, so that when it comes to the game, they can be focused on the game, not focused on other issues. Because, like I say, in rugby you need your team around you, and if you don't try, then your team's not going to try for you. So to me, there has been times when I felt that people haven't tried, and for me, again, I treat others like I'd like to be treated myself. So I think you don't have to answer to me for not trying, you have to answer to yourself. And if you can look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, I've just represented my country, when you realise what representing the country means to you and you haven't tried, then how can you look at yourself in the mirror? And I think, again, it was all about the realisation of what you represent. And if you don't try for what you represent, then your existence in the jersey or your existence playing, regardless of money, regardless of any other issue that professional game gives you, then you don't deserve to be here. And I think, a lot of people who play rugby because they have good values and they have good ethics. And when they understand what it means to represent a club or a country and not try, then it can be quite embarrassing. And I think a lot of people who get embarrassed by certain things will try to be different to that, or try harder. Welsh rugby's always in turmoil, so there's always something going on. And if you're a captain, then I believe that whatever's going on, you lead the people on the field, you're the last one off the field, and anything outside of that, you're the first to take the brunt for it as well. So all political issues that were going on within the Welsh Rugby Union, then there was things that was filtering in towards the players. And I was in close contact with Mike Ruddock. And this is where, probably I think one time in my life where I actually questioned why I was so passionate about it, because You know, I had to come back from France to do this big TV interview about why Mike Ruddock had been sacked, and people thought that players, and because I was captain, that I was the leader in getting him sacked. And I spoke to Mike that morning, and I kind of said to him, I was out in France in Narbonne, and I said to him, oh mate, can you just write me a letter and send it to the Scrum 5 studios to say, look, you haven't left because we've had anything to do with it, and then we can put it all to bed and we can concentrate on playing rugby. And Mike agreed to write the letter, and then I turned up at the Scrum 5 studios, and he didn't write the letter because his solicitor advised him not to, because he was going to a legal tangle with the union. And then I kind of thought to myself, solicitor, legal tangles, I'm here to captain my country and to play rugby. You know, this is way out of my knowledge, this is way out of anything. So, you know, I sat there, and again, I took the brunt of it because I believe that that's what a captain should do. And I stood up and I said, if you want to blame anyone, you blame me. You don't blame, you know, you don't blame Gareth Cooper, who refused to play because you didn't have good insurance for him. You don't blame Martin Williams, who may be one of the senior players. You blame me. So come to me and I'll take the brunt of it. And you know, it became quite a joke, because for like about 2 months after, the Welsh news would come on, and every day the main talking subject would be this. And you get to a point where it's like, you know, there's wars going on, you know, there's people dying, there's things happening. Actually, do you know what, this isn't news anymore, just let us get on and play rugby. And you know, I start to realise kind of the love-hate relationship that, you know, kind of that is Welsh rugby. But you know, I think I loved it too much to turn my back on it, even though I did question why I was doing it. And like everything, you know, sometimes if it's a month or 2 months, it soon becomes old news. And once Wales start winning, once you start performing again, that's ultimately the most important thing. Yeah, I think the turning point for the Welsh team that I was involved with was, I think it was the year really, and we lost every game. We went to Italy and we lost out in Italy. And I remember coming back on the aeroplane, and we got off the plane at Cardiff, and we walked out of Cardiff airport, and a load of fans had come and they'd booed us onto the bus. And as much as it hurt at the time, it's actually a reality of what it means to people. And the year after, we won the Grand Slam. And I just feel that it was a case of actually, okay, we really need now to get together. And when you're at your lowest is actually, I feel, when you have to become your strongest, because there's only one way to go. You know, and that's back up, and you have to be a strong individual to get up. You know, it's easy to stay down and to lay down, and it's almost easy to get down there, but to get back up is the struggle and the fight. And as a team, you know, we had obviously the press, the public, everybody was throwing accusations at us, throwing nasty things at us, bullets at us, and that's when you become really tight and you think, okay, as a group of players now, we have a duty to make things better, and we did. You know, as a Welsh fan now, it's almost, you know, it's quite daunting, but it's refreshing that actually we expect to win Grand Slams. You know, we expect to reach semi-finals of World Cups. You know, we expect to do really well. So whereas it's no longer a surprise, it's great that we actually have a reputation now around the world, you know, that we're worthy of being talked about, you know, in the top 4 or 5 teams in the world. And it's amazing the transformation of people's opinions in the space of a year, to go from, you know, having a wooden spoon to winning a Grand Slam. And again, I've sat down and thought, how did it happen? And I truly believe it happened because of our losses. You know, we only won because we knew how bad it felt to lose. And then you can only feel how great it is to win something when you know you've come from the bottom to the top. Playing for Wales is kind of, it represents a massive pride in my life, in my family's life. You know, to understand what it means to play for Wales, I think, is to understand the history of the rugby of the country, to understand, you know, the person that's worn the jersey before you and the person before that and before that, and to understand what it represents. It, you know, it doesn't represent just 15, 23 players or coaches in the stand. It represents every person that is Welsh or connected to Wales, to every, you know, to every mountain, to every tree, to every blade of grass, to the people who are buried underneath your feet. Like, to me, it's the whole representation of a history of a country, not just of the there and then for an 80 minutes. And I think if you understand that and you get that, then the pride of wearing your national jersey becomes something that is almost mind-blowing.